Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Here's the second topic on market research. And the topic is working with secondary sources. Well, here's the overview of the program. First time we had an overview. It took longer than I expected, so I will try to move a little bit faster through this presentation. Secondary data are data that have been gathered by someone else. And here are a few examples. Reports from the Central Bureau of Statistics or wherever. There is so much available, but mining for already existing information is a sophisticated skill. Books tell you that you have to do it, but not how to do it. But the more often you do it, the better it will be. Why secondary sources? Well, a few tips and tricks. Why secondary sources? Well, the value of the market. How much money is there to make? How did the products in the past? What are the trends? Who are the customers and how can we categorize them? What is the competition? Uh, by the way, if I want to sell to young people, how many young people are there? Or if I want to sell to people with four or more children, how many of these households can I find? You can find all this information back in secondary sources. Sometimes when you have developed a new product or service, there are legal aspects, for instance, safety regulations or warranty or patents. And maybe you want to find partners. Well, then you can use secondary sources as well. Well, um, an example. You want to develop running shoes from completely recycled materials. Well, the value and the size of the market, there are several sources that can give you information on that. Historical trends of the market. Well, there's a nice website, Trendistic. We have a website, it's called company.info, and you can find so much information on many companies. Well, you can download this presentation as a PDF file and uh, you can look up these sites yourself. Well, another example, you want to sell biodegradable coffins, and again, you can already find so much information. And when it comes to coffins, maybe demographics is important. If it's true that there are many old people nowadays, people over 60, well, that gives an indication about the market size. Another example, you want to start a company that helps company to help their employees quit smoking. Well, again, so much information available. Help yourself. I skipped that one. An important source are facts and figures provided by governmental bodies. In the Netherlands, the Central Bureau of Statistics, and you can find the link in the presentation. And in the Netherlands, also the Central Planning Bureau. On a European level, uh, www.europa.eu, United Kingdom has a very interesting site. The World Bank, United States, there are data on a world level, www.stats.oecd.org, and there's also the CIA that has a very interesting world factbook. Every country has governmental bodies that produce facts and figures. Uh, look it up. It's a rich source of information. There are also non-governmental bodies. Uh, bigger companies, they produce each year an annual report Well, you can find it on nreports.com. Uh, Google provides information on trends. There is the site Marketing Facts, and there are many other interesting sites. And through Stenden NHL library, you can access company.info. Also, you can use several tools. For instance, if you want to to calculate the size of the sample for your research, you can use rawsoft.com. If you want to have a list with random figures, random.org. Well, there are tools available for online questionnaires such as SurveyMonkey. Marketline.com is an interesting tool, and we have netigate.net. Well, check it yourself. Well, there are a few sites that are only available in Dutch. However, you can use the translate function on your browser. The first one is everything about market research. The second one is about the figures of people who watch certain television shows. The third one is about annual reports of Dutch companies. The fourth one, the Chamber of Commerce, information on companies. And then number 5 is also on annual reports. And the sixth one is about sustainability. Google and other search engines such as Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, Ecosia, they generate many results. But Google can also be a bullshit generator. For instance, if you Google dyslexia, a lot of rubbish pops up. Um, so be careful with internet, with information from the internet. You could use the CARS approach. And what is the CARS approach? First, select sources that offer the following information: author's name, author's title or position, the organization, date of creation, contact information. Be careful with information that you cannot trace back. CARS is an acronym: credibility, accuracy, reasonableness, support. So is it credible? And warning signs is that you cannot trace back where does it come from. And also spelling errors, incorrect grammar is a warning sign. The document must be dated. Reasonableness, difficult word, reasonableness, over-exaggerated language, over-claims, sweeping statements, well, it's not a good sign. And support if numbers and statistics are given without a source, well, then the support is missing. So, a good source is credible, accurate, reasonable, and supports the claims. Well, uh, the previous slide that was negative indicators, but you can reverse it and then you have positive indicators on credibility, accuracy, reasonableness, and support. So, again, download the PDF file of this presentation and use these indicators to assess information from the internet. Again, Google can be a very powerful tool, but Google can also be a bullshit generator. Wikipedia. Many people use Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is a very nice tool. However, I looked up a few weeks ago, 14 April, the population of the Philippines, according to Wikipedia. And according to the English Wikipedia, more than 106 million people. The Dutch Wikipedia, 100 million people. The German, 108. The Frisian, well, they lag behind, 92 million. And the French and the Italian Wikipedia give the Philippines more than 110 million inhabitants. Which number should we use? So be very careful with Wikipedia. You can use Wikipedia as a starting point. So if you go to a keyword and you find information, check the sources and go back to the sources that Wikipedia used. So it's a nice starting point, but be careful. Please use the NHL Stenden library. There is so much information available through the NHL Stenden library. It takes a little practice to get to find your way with it, but once you know how to do it, it is such a powerful tool. Uh, Sometimes we're talking about information and sometimes we're talking about theory or literature, and that distinction is not always clear. Well, what is the purpose of a literature review? Present an overview of the topic. For instance, help people quit smoking. There's a typo. It says quite, but it should be quit. Help people quit smoking. If you want to know how to help people quit smoking, you must understand the mechanisms of addiction and the mechanisms of marketing. You can find that in literature. Facts and figures, how many people smoke in the Netherlands or in the UK or in France or on the continent of Africa. That's information. You should also always discuss a little bit theory in your report because you show the reader that you are capable of dealing with the matter. And also, theory might give you input for your market research and your product development. Well, NHL Stenden University Library, I told you about it. I warned you about Google, but if you go to Google Scholar, well, that can be a very useful tool. Summarizing, collecting information for your startup is an essential step. There's a lot of marketing information available. Finding useful information is first like searching a needle in a haystack, but when you got started, it's like a snowball that starts rolling. Assess your information carefully. Finding good information is a sophisticated skill. It needs practice, and practice makes perfect. And that's it for today. No, not for today. We have a third topic, and that will be collecting primary data. Now we're done with secondary data. Okay, see you later.